The most recent YouTube video on this channel goes over a potential trade that might have been in the works, or apparently might actually still be in the works, between the Florida Panthers and the Philadelphia Flyers, where they would swap defenseman Shane Gostisbehere for defenseman Keith Yandle. However, the article that we went over that highlighted this specific rumor also has a little bit of a different flavor in terms of who the Philadelphia Flyers might actually be targeting on defense. We also have another source that has the same guy being mentioned as a potential target for the Devils too. So what we're going to do in this video is combine these two teams and talk about the one asset that is being discussed in these talks. Let's go over Danny DeKeyser of the Detroit Red Wings, and how apparently, according to some sources, the Flyers and or the Devils may actually both be interested in him. So, firstly, it's the Florida Hockey Now article that was talked about in yesterday's Yandle for Gostisbehere video. Again, because that's paid-for material, we're going over onto Spector's Hockey, because on the January 25th edition of the Rumor Mill, this indeed is discussed and written out here. It's also a free website, so if you don't have any subscriptions or anything like that, go ahead, click the link in the description to read this in full for yourself. The piece says this, that Jimmy Murphy, who is the guy who reported the Keith Yandle Shane Gostisbehere rumor, said that Flyers GM Chuck Fletcher could be active in the trade market sooner rather than later. He also said the Flyers are scouting Detroit Red Wings rearguard Danny DeKeyser. So, there's one team right there that apparently is in the mix for Danny D. Let's go over onto NHLTradeRumors.me because there's another article talking about the same guy. This article here says many teams are pursuing the Red Wings veteran defenseman, and it is talking about Danny DeKeyser, of course. They mention the Philadelphia Flyers thing that Jimmy Murphy says, but then they also say this other paragraph here. Now, there isn't a source. I don't know if this paragraph is written based off of the Florida Hockey Now article that is being discussed, written by Murphy, or if there's another source out there that just isn't being linked. But this article over here also says the Devils are also reportedly interested in DeKeyser. The Devils currently have $6.635 million in cap space, and they're much more competitive in the East Division than most would have expected. Ty Smith has looked great so far, but the limited talent on their blue line is a gaping hole in their opportunity to create success. And yeah, you know, before we even get into anything, I want to give a big shout out to the New Jersey Devils, because Jack Hughes and Ty Smith, these guys coming over here and doing their thing, oh my gosh, the Devils have been legitimately pretty good. If you go over to the East Division, right now the Devils are tied for 5th, but they have fewer games played than the Flyers, the Penguins, and the Capitals, and fewer games played than the Sabres that they are indeed ahead of in the standings. They're also ahead of the Islanders and the Rangers. So, I get that it's early in the season, but it's really competitive to start things off. Obviously, we already spoke about it. The young guys, Ty Smith, Jack Hughes, are doing their thing over there. I've said it before too, but Jack Hughes being Jack Hughes again, it's very, very nice to see. But let's go over into the overall discussion here in Danny DeKeyser. Now, who exactly is DeKeyser? Red Wings fans who just got into the team like this season or last season might not actually be too familiar, because Danny DeKeyser was a Detroit Red Wings player for a very long time. He joined the team all the way back in 2013 when he was 23 years old. He's 30 now, if you do the math on that, and he's a 6', 390-pound left-handed shot defenseman. Also from Detroit, Michigan, so you know he's a hometown boy. Love to see it. Love to see the local talents doing their thing, but Danny DeKeyser over the years has been mostly known as a very capable shutdown defender. He would produce once in a while, like in 2014-15 he had 31 points in 80 games played, certainly not bad, but towards the latter part of the 2010s, Danny DeKeyser was a little bit more renowned defensively. He started making a little bit of improvements here and there. He started to work on his breakout pass, etc. He was never really a goal scorer either, but he was just a guy on this team that would be used as a shutdown role. However, he had back surgery the other year, and as a result, he missed, I believe it was like 14, 12, 15 months, something like that. He missed like a year and a bit from NHL play, and as a result, his games played went from 52 games in 2018-19 and 20 points to 8 games in 2019-20 and 4 points And this season he's at 6 games played, 0 points. He actually really hasn't looked all too great. A lot of people would be quick to point out that, yeah, Danny DeKeyser is getting walked once in a while, he's getting his ankles broken, his shots are never hitting the target, they're always getting blocked, and overall a lot of Red Wings fan sentiment would be that Danny DeKeyser, what we saw out of him previously, where he was actually producing half a point a game, for example, 4 points in 8 games played, 20 points in 52 games in the season before that DeKeyser hasn't really shown up yet, but it's okay because the Red Wings aren't really supposed to be good anyway, and this guy had a year off from hockey, so he's just trying to get his mojo back. You know, it's fine. Give him time. But if there indeed is a sentiment out there on this market that says that the Flyers and or the Devils are taking a look at what DeKeyser was able to do before and be like, yeah, this guy was pretty alright, man. He would produce a little bit, but that shutdown style to his game was the biggest asset that he had. Who knows if there actually is a market here for Philadelphia or New Jersey to go out there and add a guy that they believe could become a very capable defensive defenseman once again. Now, the only question is, when it comes to a trade scenario for a guy like Danny DeKeyser, is what exactly does the price pay out? Firstly, Danny DeKeyser does have a no-trade clause right now. It's actually modified. So he has a 10-team no-trade list that he is not allowed to be able to be traded to. Every other team in the league, the 21 remaining, are fair game. Actually, it's only 20, yeah, because Detroit does not count in that number. But assuming that Danny DeKeyser would have Philadelphia and New Jersey not on his no-trade list, who knows what the price would be when Steve Yzerman goes in there asking for any potential deals. Danny DeKeyser is making $5 million a season until 2022. He's been with the team forever, so it's not really like a big, huge contract or whatever. But when you go over to the NHL teams that are indeed involved in this discussion, the Flyers only have about $46,000 in cap space right now. Meanwhile, the New Jersey Devils have a lot more. They have $6.6 million. They're the team with the third highest cap space in the entire league. Detroit is actually 4th. So, if the Devils, who are indeed quite competitive this season, wanted to go out there and be like, yeah, we have $6 million to burn here, we're a lot better than we thought we would be, why not make an acquisition or two for a guy who can stick around for a few more years and try to do something as the 4th team in the East Division or whatever? Who knows if that's actually a plausible deal, if that actually is something that you would see value in. But they're the team that has a lot more of an easier time to do that, should they be in the position to do so. $6 million cap space is a lot, and that would be enough to take on Danny DeKeyser if it's just like a second or maybe even a late first or 2/3 going back the other way. As for Philly, things get a lot more difficult because this team has a few guys that are indeed in that same ballpark in terms of the money. Travis Konechny is at 5.5, Sean Couturier is at 4.3, but of course, you're not getting any of these guys for Danny DeKeyser. That is not going to work like that. Who knows if it's a Shane Gostisbehere, though? The rumor was over there on the other side that it would be Shane Gostisbehere for Keith Yandel, and the Flyers would be willing to eat salary. So who knows if there even is a possibility that Shane Gostisbehere could go over to Detroit. I know there are going to be a few fans that are very on board with that and a few that really wouldn't be, so I'm looking for the polarization on that topic for sure. Let me know in the comments what you think. But with that being said, I wanted to end this video off here. Tell me in the comments what you think about the Danny DeKeyser interest around the league. Do you think any team out there would actually be somewhat interested in this guy, considering the way that he's played so far this year? Do you think his track record from the past is enough of a deterrent to say, okay, even though he's been not great in 2021, let's give him a chance anyway? If you're a fan of the Devils, if you're a fan of the Flyers, tell me in the comments what's the most you would give up for a Danny DeKeyser-like player after hearing what I've had to say about him. And if you're a Red Wings guy, tell me what you would want for this guy. I know a lot of Red Wings fans are just saying, okay, anything, give us a pick, give us anything for an asset that frees up cap space and allows us to take over other contracts that we can then flip for even more picks. There is a funny buy low, sell high kind of mentality going on with Red Wings fans right now, but I totally understand why that is. So tell me in the comments all that stuff, what you think about the situation, etc. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.